Good morning, everyone. My name's Elena Campbell. I'm president of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce. It is my great pleasure to welcome you this morning to our third candidates forum that the Chamber has held in the last week and a half with our candidates for the 15th District for Oakland County Commission. We all know this is a big election year, a very important election year. We have lots of issues that are going on. So the Chamber's Legislative Affairs Committee felt it was very important this year to focus on the local level. We're dealing with so many things at the local level. And so our first candidates forum featured the candidates for the 45th District for the State House of Representatives. Our second candidates forum featured the candidates for District 11 for the Oakland County Commission. And then this is our final and last candidates forum with the candidates for District 15 for Oakland County Commission. And it's my pleasure at this point to introduce the chair of our board of directors, John Young, Vice President of Marketing and Communications at Oakland University, also chair of our Legislative Affairs Committee.
Thanks, Elena. On behalf of the board, I want to welcome everyone and also thank Elena and Maggie for all the work they've been doing throughout this most unusual time. And also I want to thank the Legislative Affairs Committee for helping to pull together the work we've done this year. And I want to welcome candidates. Adam, thank you for being here this morning. We appreciate you taking time out of a busy day and a busy campaign season. As Elena mentioned a bit ago, we talked about what are the races that people need to know about as they work their way through a very long ballot. Especially this year, so many voting absentee. I think people, as they take the time to go through it, are going to get into the middle of the ballot and really need to know the important work that's done at the local and the county level. So Adam, thank you very much for joining us. Elena, I'll turn it back over to you to open the program.
Great. Thank you so much, John. And, a huge thanks to John this year. We joke a lot about when he signed up for the job to be a board chair back in November of last year, he had absolutely no idea what was coming. And he's just been an amazing leader, someone that has always been there for us to bounce things off of and to help lead the chamber during these unprecedented times. And we know how much he has going on as well in his personal life, like all of us do, and also in his real job at Oakland University. And so his ability to help lead us as well is so appreciated.
Thank you.
So with that, I want to welcome our candidate, and I will say, unfortunately, Melanie Hartman, the Democratic candidate for District 15, was not able to join us this morning. We did let them know that if they wanted to submit anything in writing, we would be happy to present it. But we didn't receive anything. So we are pleased that we do have one of our candidates here, Adam Kochenderfer, and who is the incumbent for the position. And Adam, we're going to start out by giving you 5 minutes to introduce yourself to everyone.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, Elena and John and the Chamber for giving this opportunity. I think it's really important. I think voters deserve to hear from the candidates and their positions now more than ever. This is such a challenging time. So my name is Adam Kochenderfer. I'm currently the County Commissioner for District 15. District 15 covers all of Rochester and roughly the eastern portion of Rochester Hills. I've been County Commissioner for 5 years now. And before that time, I was on Rochester Hills City Council for 4 years. This has been a busy year, to say the least. My priority, the county's priority, has been making sure that we're helping families and local businesses get through this challenging time together. And that means addressing both public health concerns and the economic concerns, because those two are so closely tied together. this is probably the busiest that I have ever been on county commission. I've taken a sort of the driving seat role in a lot of the efforts that we've made to help people through this time. A few examples, I was selected by both the Republicans and Democrats to serve on the Oversight Committee that's distributing $28 million to schools for PPE, for nursing staff, for resources that they may need to return to safe in-person learning. And I'm happy to see that that process is in place to ensure that we're making sure that kids are getting the quality education they need, but we're also protecting them during this tough time. I also served on the Oversight Committee for nonprofits. We distributed $10 million to nonprofit organizations. That money served over 470,000 Oakland County residents who need critical services during this time. We gave grants to small businesses. I believe it was over 3,200 grants to small businesses and loans to help them during the downturn. Millions of dollars to families who may have a hard time making ends meet as they were laid off or even let go. And also ensuring that we've got the testing supplies and the PPE and all of the equipment that's necessary to keep people safe. I chose to run again so I can continue putting that experience to work for Rochester and Rochester Hills. We face unprecedented challenges and we have work ahead of us, and I'm committed to continuing that work if the voters will allow me. Before this year, I was involved in many issues that affect people's daily lives. For example, I secured funding to improve the local roads that desperately needed work. We had a problem with power outages near downtown Rochester. I secured bipartisan support for creating a task force that looked at electrical infrastructure. We brought in DTE and other stakeholders in hearings, and I'm happy to say that at the end of the day, DTE invested millions of dollars rebuilding the electrical circuit around downtown Rochester and many of the other infrastructure needs that we had in our community. My commitment from the very beginning of public service a decade ago was to work with Republicans and Democrats alike on common ground to avoid those political games and ensure that we're serving all residents in this community. I'm happy of all the progress that we've made, and I'm excited to continue that with the voters' approval.
Great. Thank you so much, Adam, for that introduction. So I'm going to start with some questions. The first one is, given the recent Michigan Supreme Court ruling regarding the governor's lack of authority to continue declaring a state of emergency, and now the shift to other agencies, what do you see as the county's role with regard to limitations on local businesses?
Surely, no, that's a great question. There's two parts to that. There's what should the county be doing and what is it doing, and then what am I concerned about? Let me address first what we should be doing, what we are. Oakland County, particularly Oakland County Health Department, has a very significant role in making recommendations to local businesses and the public of what they can do to protect public health. That includes wearing masks when social distancing isn't possible. That includes the CDC guidelines and making sure that we're explaining things in a credible, easy to understand manner, because at the end of the day, the health department, they're the experts, right? That is their role, assisting not only small businesses, but schools as they get started. And I've been involved in that process as well, making sure that they have the information that they need. So I think there's a very significant role. I think we have to be very careful though. There is a lot of confusion in the community about what are the rules these days, because it seems to be changing versus the Supreme Court's orders and now all the other orders that are being issued. The enemy of any business is uncertainty. That's the last thing you want, and that's what we're creating here. That's what some people are creating. We need to make sure that whatever orders are actually being issued at any level of government, that there's authority for doing so. And that's largely a legal issue, but it's also a public health issue. Because if government continues issuing orders that the courts find weren't really authorized by the statutes to begin with, well, soon you'll lose the credibility that we desperately need. Now more than ever, it's a little ironic, now more than ever, government needs credibility, and the credibility seems to be decreasing, with each court order that comes down saying that these orders weren't permissible. An example, Oakland County Health Department on a Saturday issued one of these orders about masks and whatnot, and they rescinded it 2 days later when the state had come out with theirs. That creates uncertainty. And by the way, I'm an attorney, right? That's what I do for my other job. And when I looked at the statute that the county health department was using, to be perfectly frank, I didn't think the statute really authorized it. The plain language of the statute did not authorize that order. And I made those concerns heard, and it was rescinded, and they're now relying on the state's order. I have some concerns with the state's order as well. Let me say this, though. If you're one of my clients as a business and you came to me and you asked me what you should do, even though I have some concerns about these orders, my recommendation would be follow the state's order for now, because we don't know what the courts are going to do at the end of the day. And if you ignore those and it turns out that the orders are valid, there's no protection for liability for COVID-19. So my advice to small businesses would be sit tight, comply with those orders for now, and I'm sure that those issues will travel through the courts. But I think we need to be very, very careful as we're issuing these orders that we maintain credibility, and that we also put pressure on both the governor and the legislature to come to an agreement at what are some common sense guidelines and mandates that people should be following. That's the best way, because if the legislature and the governor agree, it's no longer a suspect anymore. We don't have to worry about the courts overturning these issues. That's the way out of this. That's going to require some compromise. That's going to require some hard decisions. And that's not a partisan comment. Both the legislature and the governor, we need to be putting equal pressure on them to come to the table and get this done for the state of Michigan.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. So the next question, the mandated closure of businesses for several months and the inability of many businesses to be at full capacity still has greatly impacted our local economy and small business community. If elected, how would you work to ensure, I should say if re-elected, how would you work to ensure that we can get our local businesses back up and running at pre-pandemic levels?
Sure. We're very fortunate. Oakland County received $219 million from the federal government under the CARES Act this year. That's what made all of those grants to local businesses and other ones that I had previously mentioned possible. Local businesses still need more help. We're not out of this. We could be facing a second wave. It's entirely possible. It's uncertain what second stimulus package will be passed by Congress, if any. One of the things that we need to do is work with our representatives in Congress and others to try to get another stimulus package done. I think local businesses desperately need it. I'm very proud to say that Oakland County has been the leading county in the state of Michigan with quickly and efficiently putting that money to work. We deployed that money fast in very smart ways, and I would anticipate we would do that again if another stimulus package was passed. If there is no stimulus package, the county can certainly continue to provide support, but it's not sustainable to continue doing it. We simply don't have the resources to continue doing it in the way that we've done it this past year. But we can certainly be innovative with the guidance that we're giving the local businesses in keeping people safe and staying open and keeping businesses viable. And again, continuing to work with the state legislature and the governor to make sure that there is clear guidance. Okay,
thank you. So the next question, and if anyone else has questions, just type them in the chat box and we'll be happy to ask them. Though I should say we are going to focus on business-related issues. because we have a limited amount of time. So if you have any other questions, please type them in the chat box. What do you see as the most important issue to tackle in 2021 to rebuild the county's economy?
Well, you've got two sides that one really emphasizes public health, one really emphasizes the economy. You can't separate those two. They are inextricably tied together. And we need to be able to concentrate on both of them simultaneously. If there is another wave, we need to ensure that we have adequate testing in place, adequate contact tracing, adequate PPE, because if we don't fix that component, the economy will never come back. I mean, you can say all you want, the economy's open. If customers aren't coming through your door, it really doesn't matter if they don't feel safe. And so we need to work with the county health department that they do feel safe. And in terms of the other side of that, the economy, we need to manage this, the county needs to manage this in a way that's responsible. The county has tremendous pressure under it. There is limited resources. The county needs to be very smart about how it is spending its money. And that's why I supported, it was passed back in April, a moratorium on all hiring at the county that was not related to the pandemic in order to save costs. We need to be very cautious about how we're using our dollars. I would much rather put those dollars to help families and small businesses than another dollar in government where we may not really be getting a bang for our buck. I also supported a rainy day fund, for example, at the county that puts some money away so that if we do continue to have these unexpected expenses, we do have a cushion. But we need to pay attention to both of those aspects because that's what businesses are doing. I mean, businesses are looking, how do I, pay my bills? How do I keep the doors open? And how do I keep my customers and employees safe? We need to do the same thing at the county level.
Great, thank you. And from the chat box, is there an issue currently not on the radar at the county level that you'd champion if elected?
Sure. We have a lot on our radar these days, but one of the ones that I'd want to come back to is the one actually I mentioned in my introduction. We were very successful in getting DTE to invest in some of the infrastructure around Rochester, but we're not done yet. I've actually been hearing some concerns outside of my district on the western side of Rochester Hills now about power outages that continue to happen right along that Adams corridor. I think we need to go back and revisit that. Just because we made some gains doesn't mean that we're done here. And that's an issue that's also related to health, right? If you've got somebody who's maybe a senior citizen at home who is relying on medical equipment that's plugged in and all of a sudden the power goes out, that's now a medical issue. It's a business issue when the power goes out and you have to close your doors. I want to revisit that because I think it's very, very important, not just for our community, but for the county and for the region, especially as DTE starts to look at alternative sources of power, making sure that we have that reliability in place for the infrastructure.
Great, thank you. So with that, you now have 3 minutes to do a wrap up and take it away.
Sure, great. Well, again, thank you very much to the Chamber for allowing me to do this. And most importantly, thank you to Rochester and Rochester Hills for giving me the privilege of serving you all these years. It's been the honor of a lifetime, and it's why I'm seeking to do it again. One of the things that's so concerning these days is that it seems like we are facing some of the biggest challenges in my lifetime as a state, as a county, as a country right now. And it's a time where we need to come together the most. And in some ways, it's a time where we're dividing the most. I'm very proud of almost all those grants that I had mentioned at the beginning. Those were unanimous, Republicans and Democrats alike. We need to continue that process of reaching across the aisle, find the common ground. Of course, we'll have issues that we disagree with, but we need to focus on those areas where we can agree. And I think we can all agree that we need to help keep individuals and families and businesses safe during this time and get them out the other end stronger than before. That is my goal. That's what I've always worked to do, and that's what I'll continue working to do if I'm reelected as county commissioner.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Adam, again, for joining us here today. I want to thank you and Melanie both for putting your hats in the ring, for caring enough about our community to run for these positions. We know that it's a very difficult job in normal circumstances, and that this year has been extremely difficult. And we appreciate your leadership, your willingness, both you and Melanie, to step up to the plate and be willing to go and do that hard work every single day to help protect our community, to help move our community forward and get through this. So thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for joining us today. So with that, we're going to conclude today's Candidates Forum. Thank you everyone for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you want to view this again, it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Just look for Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce on YouTube and you'll find it. We ask you to please subscribe to our channel. That way you'll get notified whenever we upload new content. And help us spread the word that this is available on our YouTube channel for those who maybe missed out today. So thank you once again, Adam, for joining us, and everyone go out and have a great day.
You too. Thanks a lot, Elena. Appreciate it.